Hey Girls Camp, welcome to day 3 of virtual camp. It's Peppo here again, and today we're going to do a Bible study from BMP. As most of you know where we normally do our Bible studies from, I thought it might be nice to start off our Bible study grouping here. So to start things off, I'm going to read a little story called Up the Mountain by Colleen Shine Phillips. Lorenzo, time to get up. I lift a heavy eyelid. It's still dark, Grandpa. Letting my eyelid close again, I continue to dream about winning first place in next week's llamathon. Grandpa nudges me awake. Senor Martinez will be here soon. Today will be my first hike to Machu Picchu. I groan. Today I'm supposed to become Lorenzo the Pak Llama instead of just Lorenzo Llama. Do I have to go, Grandpa? You're 4 years old. It's time to accept God's destiny for llamas. But I'm not ready, I say. I just want to play and run races. Carrying blankets to old Incan ruins does not sound like fun. Grandpa smiles. God made llamas for such a trip. You'll have fun and learn a lot. Thinking about the llamathon again, I peered at my two-toed feet. Maybe. And when we return home, Grandpa says, it will be time for your first shearing. A shiver runs up my back. I don't want sharp scissors to cut close to my skin, but your hair is perfect for blankets and ponchos to keep someone warm. Maybe. When Senor Martinez arrives, he fastens a load on my back and pats me on the head. He's nice, but I wonder whose sheared wool has been made into these blankets. After what seems like hours of walking, my legs tremble and my back aches. Even my tongue flops out of my mouth. Grandpa, are we there yet? He nods. Look. Ahead of us, rocks fit together in squares, rectangles, and triangles to form a city on a grassy mountain. Wow, I breathe. Machu Picchu. Isn't it amazing, Grandpa says? I believe our ancestors carried rocks to help build that great city. They must have been strong, I say. May I take a bath? Grandpa laughs. As soon as your pack is unloaded. As soon as Senor Martinez pulls the blankets off my back, I race towards the biggest pile of dust I can find. I kneel down, flip onto my back, and roll with all my might. Dirt flies in all directions. Ah, just what I needed. Now I feel cleaner than clean. A little boy comes running toward me and points. I scramble to my feet and feel an incredible urge to spit. I charge at him. Grandpa cuts me off just before I launch a wad of gooey saliva at the boy. Grandpa flaps his lips in my ear as he whispers, "Wait to see what happens." I stand still as a statue when the little boy reaches me. A pretty lady comes up beside him and speaks in a language I can't understand. She takes his hand and guides it across my back. I have to admit I like it. At that moment, a chilly breeze blows across the ruins. The pretty lady reaches into her bag, pulls out a poncho, and slips it over the boy's head. She points to me and then to his poncho. A smile spreads across his face. He must realize that a llama gave its wool to keep him warm. The boy wraps his arms around my neck and squeezes. I stare at Grandpa. Aren't you going to save me? His llama lips stretch into a big grin. From what? Once Senor Martinez sells all the blankets, we head back home. Now that my first pack trip is over, I can think about the llamathon again. Then another thing pops into my head. Grandpa twitches his ear. What's the matter, Lorenzo? Nothing, Grandpa, just thinking. About the shearing? How did you know? I remember how I felt at your age. Did you dread the shearing? Of course. The unknown is always scary, Grandpa says. But I saw how God takes care of the flowers and the birds. He takes care of all his creatures. Carrying packs and being sheared is part of the way we thank him and help his world. My body does seem built for carrying loads, I say. And when I saw how happy and warm the poncho made that little boy today, well, I saw that my wool can be something important. That's right, Grandpa says. How come you're so wise, I ask. Well, I'm a grandpa, and grandpas know things. Now, instead of worrying about my shearing, I dream about competing in the llamathon. But more than that, I dream about all the children my wool will keep warm. It's good to trust my destiny to God, just like Grandpa. All right, so that story I thought would be a nice one to start off our Bible study with, because we're living in a time of unknown. We're living in a time where we don't know what's coming next, and things are different, and it can be scary. And just like Lorenzo, he doesn't know what a shearing is going to feel like, but he's looking forward to the future. He's looking forward to being able to use his gifts to help people, and he's looking forward to the fun that he's going to have in the llamathon. So I have a couple of verses picked out here from the Bible. The first one is Joshua 1:9, and these are verses of encouragement for us as we go through this summer being apart. It's hard on everyone. I know it's hard on you guys, and it's hard on the leaders, and we all are just looking forward already to next summer when we get to be together again. So the first verse is Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So that verse is comforting because God is telling us that we don't have to worry about not knowing the unknown, because even if we're going somewhere we don't know or we're scared, He's always there for us. Now the second verse is from 1 Peter 4, verse 10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So thinking back to the story we just read, Lorenzo was talking about how he was excited to have his shearing now instead of terrified, because he knew that God was using it for good, that his wool would be used to keep people warm. And just like he has gifts, we have gifts, whether it's helping others, or maybe if we're older, maybe it's looking after younger kids so our parents can work. Maybe it's helping make meals. Maybe it's helping to keep things tidy. Whatever it is, everyone has gifts, and it's important that we remember to use them in these times to help people, both help ourselves and help our families and friends, because we're all in this together. And the last verse is from Philippians 4, verses 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. That verse is really comforting as well, because we know that we don't have to be afraid. We know that times can be scary, but we are going to get through it, and we're going to get through it together. And even though we can't physically be together, we are together in spirit, and we're united by Christ. Thank you for listening, Girls Camp. Look forward to seeing you again soon.